Well, I got a pretty good idea where you can spend some of it. Once you go over to Hobart High School and Mike, give it some of it to Mike Black, the athletic director, and then we'll do a bunch of it and we'll put out. We could help them. Hobart is one of our affiliates, and we have a nice close relationship with Hobart. And um, it's not even just that. It's we the Hobart kids do the games, and then we put them on the air on Heartland Sports Network. Now we help them out a little bit on getting to the quality and so forth, but for the most part, they've developed their own. And I'm like, well, you could throw some money at that Hobart Broadcasting Department, and we could do all the games with like 3 cameras. And anyways, he's got all this money. I'm like, well, how are you going to spend that? We're going to figure it out. But Hobart went from like every other community, a cash-strapped community. And I've talked to Mike Black. He's one of our affiliates. So, I meet with him once in a while. And I went and saw all the coaches. I went to their annual meeting last year. And, what's going on? What are the issues? And it's all about money. It's always about money. And but what they did in LaPorte, I think it's the city of LaPorte. They got the Microsoft one, and now they're thinking of expanding it to like just a massive facility that just takes up just swaths of farmland, and it's in the middle of kind of on the outskirts of LaPorte. But they said they give like 15% of the money to the schools. So you're done. You got plenty of money. That teachers union's going, all right, let's see. What percent increase would we like? And, hey, how about a new swimming pool? You know what I mean? So there is some good, I guess some good impact of some of these things. But then you got the environmental factors. And you get the feeling that some of these people, Microsoft and Google and some of the private developers of data centers, maybe in the south part of this county, they're trying to get it in before this movement against data centers congeals. Now, I want to show you something before I go to the phones. See this? If you guys are watching on YouTube, am I on YouTube? I don't know. No one texted me. So no one's going to text me that we're on YouTube, right? You know how many people have my cell phone and not one of you can tell me? All right, well, I'll have to check myself, you losers. All right, I have no idea. I don't even know how to. I just turned on like you guys know, I just wanted to show up and start doing radio, and I have. But I am supposed to go here because there's a bunch of people that are watching or watch on a regular basis. So I guess I'm live now. There I am. Okay, thank you. Thanks, you losers. Okay, way to go, Clark. Yay. The radio signal is crap in South County. And it's the only way to hear it down here. No, that's not true. You can watch it on YouTube. You know what? You're right about one thing. Rich Hutchinson, he says the TuneIn app is loaded with its own ads. You're right. And what has happened is we moved out of Purdue and we moved over here, and I redid this whole building. And now over the summer, we're redoing the radio station. We're going to get our own app for the radio station so you can just click on it and listen at any time so that you don't have to go through that TuneIn thing. I mean, we'll still be there on TuneIn. But thank you for 5 people all of a sudden texting me that I'm on YouTube. But the guy's right about that, and that you're listening to TuneIn, and then all of a sudden these ads come on, and then the TuneIn, and I'm like, wow, it wasn't like that when we started it, so we will get our own. But anyways, in terms of the data centers, you have no idea how it's changing, like LaPorte. Here's several millions of dollars for you schools, maybe even 10 million if you guys are good today. And then how about Hobart? Well, we got $47 million in an account. Hey, can you pave my road? Oh, no, we're going to sit on this money for, you're creating new problems, but it's the kind of problem that a municipality wants to have. You guys are calling in, and I think I'm just going to talk to you because I've babbled long enough. Hey, is Jed there?
Look.
Is Jed there?
China, get some flowers. Let's just sing this morning. Can we just sing this morning?
You know, the problem with that is I don't know the words very often. I just make them up, and people don't like that as much. But hey, you could sing, and you got a good voice, and you remember all the lyrics.
Well, the mind's a little foggy nowadays, but whatever.
What are you doing these days, man?
Laying low.
You still running a
No, just
forklift?
you know what? I sure am, Jim, but we're on year 2 of our business adventure, and we're quickly growing, so I'm hoping to get out of here in a couple more years.
What kind of business?
We got the lawn and landscaping up and running.
Oh, really?
Yeah, year 2.
Now, what kind do you do? Like, hey, I'm in and out, and here's your $40 for mowing your lawn and trimming everything, or do you go in and put rocks and bushes and stuff in?
I'm capable of everything. I did a few complete front yard landscape renovations last year, and we're trying to build up the weekly mowing customers right now. And I got a spring cleanup to do on Belmont Place this weekend, and I got a mulch job to do out in Crown Point, and some lawns to spray. We do it all.
Do you want to do you want to tell who you are and what the name of your business is in case somebody wants their lawn mowed?
This is the one, the only Zubay, division manager of Budget Cuts Lawn and Landscaping, 219-678-0046. And you mentioned, am I one of those that are in and out of there? No, because I'm not about quantity right now. I'm about quality. Some of these guys are in and out. It doesn't even look like they mowed your lawn. They go so fast. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, I do know what you mean. I admire them a little bit. You know what I mean? They've got it down to a science so that when they're pulling up in front of your house, at the exact same time, the other guy is getting out of the passenger side, and by the time the guys put it into park, the back is open and he's pulling out the riding mower, right? And then the diesel engine hasn't all the way shut off, and the driver is out there grabbing the weed trimmer, and the guy mowing the lawn, the guy's trimming the weeds, and they're in and out. I watched a guy do it in 15 minutes the other day on a smaller lawn. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, you get the right equipment, couple swipes and the front yard's done, and then you just hope that some of these residents have updated gates for their fences in the backyard where you don't have to worry about taking a little residential Toro back there and you can fit your big machines.
You know, that is a big deal. I don't have a fence, but a couple of my neighbors do. And it is, you could just see the guy out there, and then sometimes they got to enter a code. And then he's looking on his phone for the code, and yeah, it slows things down. But I am glad to hear it.
We're slowly growing, so this will be the make or break here, I feel.
Budget cuts. Now, are you the kind of guy that wears no shirt and you get on that riding mower when it's really hot, you're going to show your pecs?
Yeah, if it was 1998. Now I'd be four swipes into the lawn, the town police would be over there and be like, put something on. And then, I'd probably blind the customer with my pale skin.
Yep.
Mostly white, pale skin, but I mean, we're not obese, but we're definitely not going to be, gracing the cover of any men's health issue magazines this year, but whatever. We'll see.
Hey, I'm there with you, pal. Hey, man, I'm glad to hear it. It's our famous forklift driver, Zubay, and it sounds like you're doing good, man.
Real quick, and I'll hang up and listen. I meant to call. What's the consensus so far with the opening of that South Shore over there in Munster and Dyer? Complaints, concerns, anything? I'll hang up and listen to your rebuttal.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. There you go, Zubay. Oh, it just makes me want to get silly. But, part of it is it kind of became a debacle, a cost debacle, and a construction debacle on the west corridor. Now, the other way, where they went out and they fixed through Gary and the double tracking and all that, went like a breeze. I think they even came in under budget, and whoever did that was they hired the right construction firm and the design and all that, and they got it right. But over here, then they put something in, and from what I understand, it was like some of the electric was radiating into the surrounding pipes and wires, and you can't have that because you degrade the pipes, and then they're vibrating all the time, or they got electric current in them, and it breaks them down quicker. And the next thing you know, you got an oil leak or a bunch of a sewer main break or something like that. So they had to go in and do a whole bunch of changes, I believe, like to the railroad ties or something like that. I don't know whose problem that was, but it wasn't done correctly from what I understand, and that's my opinion. How's that sound? Because everybody's going to be suing each other. You got to watch yourself. But anyways, personally, I'm glad to see it. I know that, I'll even tell you the second part of that is that I was so excited to push the South Shore that they put out an RFP, a request for proposal to, hey, who wants to tell people about the South Shore going through Munster and Hammond and Dyer, and going through Munster and through Hammond and Gary, and these new constructions and new schedules, and who wants to promote it? And I'm like, gosh, well, maybe we'll do that. So I called Tom Shager at the Times, and I said, hey, man, why don't we put in, and you're right next to the train. You can see it out your back window. I'm right at the nexus of both trains. Go up 100 feet up the tower, and you could look to your north, and there's the old route. And then you look to your west, and there's the new route through Hammond. I'm like, who's going to tell people about this better than us? Nobody. Well, it turns out there are very well-connected people in the South Shore, and they had a marketing firm for like 10 years. 10 years, and I'm like, well, good. It's probably time for a change. And then I get out there and go to the meeting, and I see, this is just it reminded me of the little Cal meetings I used to go to in the 1980s, and I'd come back to the newsroom here, and I go, hey, Larry, it's kind of a messed up organization. It's, they don't have enough money. I think that's the main problem. Well, that's not the problem with the South Shore. They got plenty of money. And anyways, they went with a well-connected person that's been there 10 years, and they'll be there another 5 years for $3 million or whatever. But it just showed me a window into the kind of, bureaucratic nature of the train. And I guess that's kind of what you expect. So the way that it was built and the way that it's kind of run is, it needs to be reviewed. But the actual having a train that goes from downtown Hammond all the way to Dyer, to me, is just a great addition to what's happening here in the Calumet region. So maybe it's like, hey, don't worry about the ketchup and seeing how it's made and what goes on behind the scene. Just grab the bottle and put it on your French fries and start eating. How's that sound? Hey, let's go to the next one. 219-845-1100 if you want to talk to me. I'm Jim Dedelow. I'm the owner, and I am filling in for Tom Dabberton. Dabberton is on assignment, and he will be back next Wednesday. And filling in for him is me, and then I don't know what to do, so Mayor Tom McDermott's going to come sit with me in a few minutes. Hey, you're on the air. What are you doing?
Well, I can see in my one eye a little bit better. I'm a little upset with you this morning.
Okay, take a number, but let's go.
Well, yeah, because, one of the wonderful listeners on the station took me yesterday morning to General Hospital to do my procedure, and you must have found out about it, and because yesterday your face was so red, you must have come, hurry up, banged on my door, told Deb to grab his blood pressure pills. So you must because I looked at my bottle and it was moved. Did you come to my house and take some of my blood pressure pills? Because you look normal today.
You know, I think they adjusted the camera, but I don't know. To me, I still look kind of red. But I saw the text, and I'm sorry I didn't wish you good. I meant to sit down and give you a nice text, and I never did.
You're busy, but you know what? It went so quick and everything. But the thing was, I'm one of these, when you go into an operating room, put me to sleep, because if I feel pain, the doctor's going to feel pain. Just like a long time ago when I had a tooth pulled. They numbed my tooth and everything, and I'm sitting in that chair, and he sticks that thing in my mouth, and I can hear him crunching that tooth, getting it out of my mouth. Luckily, there was no pain, but when I was sitting on that thing getting ready for the surgery yesterday, she said, "We're not going to put you all the way out." I says, and I'm trying to be real nice, and I says, "Well, ma'am, if I feel pain, somebody else is going to feel it." She gave me that look, like, okay. But, one thing is the person, I'm going to say his name because it's a listener from JOB, Rick. He took me out there. But on the way there, I thought we were going to get in trouble or get hit, or I wasn't going to get there because somebody pulled out in front of us out of Munster Donuts to go northbound, right in front of us. Were they in such a hurry to get their fresh donuts from Munster Donuts somewhere? But
I don't know. They're pretty good donuts, Mike. They're good donuts, and they have really good coffee. I've been going there for 65 years.
Everything went good. Everything's
well,
good.
I'm not
I
that
got
old.
Home, and
55.
I'm going to let you go, but this morning I probably won't be able to call in because I've got to go back for my follow-up this morning and go there. But
hey, Mike, slow down for a second. I don't want to point out the obvious, okay? But I'm going to suggest that you go the extra mile to protect your eyesight, right?
Yeah,
because, I mean, if you guys know this, if you know this scene here, Deb is visually impaired and can't really see, and Deb and Mike are married and live together, and you're her eyes, and you need to take care of your eyes. That's all I need to say, correct?
Yeah, but the thing is I know how to protect it and keep it so I'll be safe and I'll have vision longer, is not to look at you too much longer. But,
goodbye. It's always good talking to you. See you. Hey, guys, I got to play some spots. I'll be right back. Listen, I'm going to go down the hall, fill up the jug with water, try to make some coffee, and all of that. So if it comes back and there's a little dead air, too bad. Just too bad.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
Hi, my name is John Patalis, and I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
people would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
AM 1230 WJOB 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the Calumet region. Let's take a look at what's going on with traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. The Bishop Ford up the gut of the Southland is starting to back up a little bit right on the top of the steel bridge. So get used to that. Can you tell I ran? Still didn't make the coffee. But I did get the water. Hey, Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65, they're all moving along pretty well. In terms of the weather, kind of a wicked storm came through late last night. Late afternoon, maybe, say 4:30 to 6. Boom. And then it was great until 4:30, and it was great after 6. But for about an hour and a half, it looked like, we were in some major trouble. Just one of those, lines of clouds and awful, it's a twister look to it. And then all of a sudden it was sunny on the other side. High of 66 today, not as warm with clouds and sun. Beautiful a day to get out and see a high school baseball or softball game. Thursday, tomorrow, patchy fog will reduce visibility in the morning, otherwise breezy and warmer with periods of sun. And then by Friday, breezy in the morning, cloudy, not as warm with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm and a high of 72 degrees. And in terms of what is going on. Now, you guys got to remember that at any time you can go to you might have to download the JED TV app still. We haven't turned it all over. We hired a marketing firm, and we rebranded as the Heartland Sports Network. And you can go to heartlandsportsnet.com and watch a game just about any day. But you, if you want to get it on your phone, or depending which service you have. It might be JED TV, it might be Heartland. But today we got plenty of games. Will be Hobart at Munster. It is Judson at Cal College in softball. Andrean at Ileana Christian in boys volleyball. Washington Township at Hanover Central in boys volleyball. And Morton at BNI in boys volleyball. Tomorrow's a big baseball game, and we'll have a full crew out there. Crown Point is coming in to play at Munster tomorrow, and that'll be a 4:30 first pitch, and you can watch all the action and listen to it. I think that one's actually on the radio too. So, but you also have other games like Munster's at KV in boys volleyball, Hobart's at South Central in boys volleyball, and let's see, I'll just pick another one. Hanover Central's at Couts in boys volleyball. You go into the weekend, Lake Station will be at River Forest from the Railcat Stadium at 7 o'clock on Friday night. That should be a good watch. And then there's all sorts of games on Saturday. Monday, big one. Andrean at Munster and girls softball, and that'll go off at 4:30. We've got a full crew going out to that. So go out and look at the Heartland Sports Network. I'm behind, and Lynette is here, so I'm going to take one more quick break. I'm going to make my coffee, go sit out in the main studio, and we're going to sit here and wait for McDermott to show up. How's that sound? Be right back on the voice and face of the region.
State Senator Dan Durnell was supposed to be different. He promised to fight for Hoosier families and stand with President Trump. He failed. Durnell voted against President Trump's agenda in Washington. That hurt Hoosier families, and he voted to let a Chinese company buy Hoosier farmland, putting China before us. Dan Durnell, opposing Trump, voting like a liberal, letting us down. A disgrace.
President Trump has endorsed conservative Trevor DeVries for state senate, a real Republican who will fight for Hoosier values. Trevor DeVries will stand with Trump, protect Hoosier farmland from China, defeat the liberal agenda, and never let you down. A true America First conservative. The right choice for Indiana. Endorsed by Trump, Trevor DeVries for state senate. Election day is May 5th. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Hi, my name is John Patalis, and I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
Hey everybody, traffic just really up the gut of the Southland. Bishop Ford into the Dan Ryan, that's really your only problem. In terms of the weather, not as warm today, but hey, you know what? A beautiful day nonetheless. A high of 66 degrees. And before we get going, don't forget you can watch all sorts of baseball and softball on the Heartland Sports Network every day. All sorts of high school athletes out there working their butts off, often in, bad. All right, I can hear you moving around over there. Is that okay? You know what? I can hear any little thing you do in the background will just upset my rhythm. Do you realize that? You're sitting there adjusting your headset, and because it's different size for me, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you had to make it smaller probably, and that took a little bit, but we have Lynette with us. Thank you for coming in.
Yep.
You're, I can't believe you're here already. I mean, no offense, but Joe Cimino and Adriana Alvarez are like on the 7:01, 7:05, train, and here you are at 6:39 showing up. What's the problem with your work ethic? You know what
just
I mean?
in
You're
case
not
our
adjusting.
guest shows up early, and then you would be here along with them.
And then how are we going to let them in? You know how
Yeah.
many people have been waiting out there? See, so you got to get it set so that Ring doorbell shows up on your phone, on your and Joe and Adriana's phone, so that you can know that they're there.
We have it like that.
You do?
Mhm.
Oh, you can see them?
Yeah.
Oh, is that why? All right, because sometimes I'll be sitting here and like Cimino will go, all right, I'll be right back. Someone's at the door. And I'm like, how do you know? So, hey, way to go. 219-845-1100. I do want to tell you a little bit. I don't know what happened. Kind of, I said I'd been going to Munster Donut for 65 years. I go, I'm not even 65 years old. That's stupid. But anyways, I'm younger than that. And that entire time, I never really learned how to cook anything. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I know how to make a sandwich. I can make one thing, spaghetti sauce, and I wrote it down, and I have to look at it on my phone every time I make it. And that's all I really know how to make is just spaghetti sauce. And so we used to eat spaghetti once a week when I was, we were younger, Alexis was working and I was home with the kids, but I never learned how to bake. And this is going to sound weird, but I'm baking things now. Now, the reason I'm baking them is a little bit different than what you would think. Oh, just another dude getting older and he's got a hobby now. My cousin David, he grows things in his backyard. Like, just ask him, hey, man, how are the peppers? Or, hey, the tomatoes going to be good this year? You got any parsley? You know, that kind of thing. And he'd be like, yeah, it's really good this year. Oh, the rabbits got to this one, whatever. So everybody kind of grabs onto some. But I've been baking. And part of the reason that I've been baking is that I want to bake better cookies than my cousin Phyllis. That's one. And two, I have to eat gluten-free. Don't ask why. It's kind of a weenie thing that happened later in my life, and now I feel like I wake up feeling good every day, and for 25 years I woke up feeling crappy every day, and I didn't know why, and then finally I just removed gluten, and here I am. And it took a long time to get there, but you go into the grocery store, you go online to order things that are gluten-free, and they're like 2 to 3 times more than like a loaf of bread is like $10 of gluten-free, decent gluten-free bread. Bagels are like $8.50, and muffins are like $4 a piece. So I started baking muffins and my own cookies. I even bake my own gluten-free bread. So it's basically a cost-cutting measure, but this I had never tried, and that is banana muffins, gluten-free, using almond flour. And I cut up 2 bananas and put it in there. And I'll be doggone. And I don't want to pat myself. I don't want to hurt my elbow that's hurt patting myself on the back. But these banana muffins are damn good. And I'm going to eat one right now. It's just outstanding. So, if you have any gluten-free baking recipes that you want me to try, now, it can actually be a regular baking recipe, but I just substitute what they call 1-to-1, which is baking, it's like gluten-free flour instead of like wheat flour. It's not always the same. It's like when you go out, hey, can you quit doing that? I can hear you typing.
That's okay.
You got to turn your mic off when you do that. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to ask you, and if you won't do it, I'm going to ask the mayor to do it. I brought an extra muffin. Will you eat any of it, or are you just like going to say, hey, thanks anyways?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Oh, really? So we're going to cut it in half, and you're going to eat half, and the mayor's going to eat half. And you guys are going to tell me if it's bad, because I think it's good. But, you eat gluten-free long enough, if you cut up a hush puppy shoe and you put it into a spaghetti sauce, I'd be like, hey, man, that's pretty good. Because typically gluten-free stuff is bad. Like if you go get a gluten-free pizza and then you try to chew on it, it is just like, it tastes all leathery and it just was bad. But these muffins are really good. All right, let's take some phone calls. I got plenty of news items to get to, but why don't we just leave the hard stuff for when McDermott gets here, and you and I could just screw around. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Trucker Mike, medical problems?
He got eye surgery. That's right. He
Cataract?
texted and he said that on the air, so I'm not relating anything HIPAA related. He had his eyes worked on. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but you're probably thinking the same thing I was thinking. I'm like, dude, I'm glad you're taking care of your eyes because your wife can't see, and you need to be, someone in that house needs to be, it would be better if they could see. That's just the reality of it. You got anything to say to that, or did you lick your popsicle?
No, I just wanted to move on to another subject. I was listening to the advertisement by Jerry Williams and running for sheriff, and it reminded me what a red letter day Lake County, Indiana is happening, and that you have some crop of people running for sheriff, which is one of the most important positions in Lake County, that every darn one of them is excellent. And,
for you to say that? For you, Walt? That's a huge statement right there. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it's true. And we should offer kudos to Terry, because he's dropped a bunch of coins on you which helps keep WJOB on the airways. And I heard his about a week or so ago. I heard him talk about his credentials. Outstanding. He has exceptional credentials. And my suggestion is whoever wins the sheriff's office, they should hire some of these guys who are running for this office and create a kind of super cop group, and to focus them on official corruption, to elements of the community that are exceptionally violent, and that sort of thing. You know, high visibility, high impact crimes. Well, these super cops.
Well, here's what would be my retort to that. And that, number one, I don't know how we set this system up like it is, but we have taken cops, and they're all cops. And, you know, Jerry Williams talking, I'm like, God, I can't, every time I see him at a political fundraiser, I mean, I feel kind of, it's a little bit cringeworthy in that he's such a good policeman and he's into the law enforcement, but he's trying to talk to people he doesn't know anything and trying to make small talk and stuff. And it's kind of funny to watch. And the same goes true with Flores and Gore. Now, Jenkins is another, he's got a little more social skills, but he's probably, a little bit younger than, not quite as well known yet. And Trajkovic also has some social skills, but the kind of the three front runners, well, we've taken law enforcement people and we've put them into political situations. And I just wish, man, we would re-examine how we pick the sheriff of Lake County, honestly. And what was the other thing?
For example, what do you have in mind?
Well,
specifically,
I think that's got to be an appointed position. I mean, you have the mayor of Chicago. You think you're going to elect his police chief? Or you got the mayor of, or you have Indianapolis. You have a large city, the city of New York. Mamdani comes in. You think they're going to put up for election his chief of police? And then you got a law enforcement person who's just supposed to be doing law enforcement. Now they got to go into the political world. And to get elected, well, you know this and I know this, you kind of owe people. So that's the second part. You would love to have a bunch of other cops coming in to run it with whoever wins the sheriff's race, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're probably going to owe some, they're going to have a political organization with them, and they're going to have to hire politically connected people because that's who helped them get elected. You know what I mean? That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't necessarily like that. I laugh when I see these guys out, specifically Gore and Flores and Williams. Jenkins kind of works his way around a room. He's got some talent in that regard. But the other guys are just cops, and they're a little bit awkward when they go places, but they want so much to be the sheriff that they got to talk to everyone, and it's so hard. It's kind of hard to watch sometimes, if that makes any sense.
So the super cop squad is out.
Well, I would just say that I know each one of these kind of organizations behind them. Did you open a door? Just prop it open and let the mayor. I know their situations, so and who they have behind them, and I got to believe that if any one of these people wins, some of those people are going to come in and work there. That would be my guess. So your idea of a super cop thing, like say Williams wins and he goes, hey, you know what? Everybody out of my office, I'm just going to hire Gore and Flores. They probably wouldn't come, but maybe they would. And then you'd have this super cop situation. That would be better for law enforcement. I agree. Rather than, bringing in people who are politically connected. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea, Walt. And I can't believe I'm giving you kudos.
Got a question for the mayor when he gets before the microphone. Of course, remains an open question as to whether the Bears would come to Indiana, but with all the publicity that the subject has gotten, Indiana has really acted smartly and quickly as contrasted with the Illinois crowd. Have they been getting any kind of inquiries from business and industry, people coming in and saying, hey, I didn't realize you guys could act so quick and so smart, and if you don't get the Bears, we'd like to talk to you about establishing a plant or some other kind of business in Northwest Indiana. Have they been getting any inquiries like that?
It's odd that you mentioned that. As you well know, I'm in the sports world most of my life. As soon as I'm off here at 8 o'clock, I'm like, it's just sports the rest of the day is what I think about. But I did talk to a sports person kind of high up there. And the person said, listen, you cannot buy the kind of promotion you have had for Hammond and for Northwest Indiana as you have gotten from the Bears, talking about the Bears, okay? You just can't. So even if they don't come, you will have residual positive promotion of the city of Hammond and of Northwest Indiana. So I agree with you, but I had a guy go even further. He goes, there's a couple of kind of lower to middling NFL franchises. Chicago used to have two football teams, the Cardinals and the Bears, right? And it was like the White Sox and the Cardinals, and it was the Bears and the Cubs, right? And then the Cardinals left, and then I think they went to St. Louis, and now they're in Phoenix. But we have given so much promotion to that site that would it be possible to bring a second NFL franchise into Northwest Indiana? Now, here's the problem, Walt. And I found this out when I went to try. I've tried several times to get the Colts on the radio and become an affiliate, right? I can't do that because as the announcer told me, hey, there's a handshake agreement between the Ursays and the McCaskies that Northwest Indiana is Chicago's territory, correct? And I agree with that.
Right.
We're 20, I think it's the distance from Soldier Field to Wolf Lake is 13 miles, and we're probably 2 miles from Wolf Lake, so we're 16 miles from Soldier Field, and the Bears are going to be playing the Tigers, and the Colts are going to be playing the Guardians, they're going to be playing the Rams, and then we're going to have a different game on at the same time in the same market, and I understand that. You could argue monopoly theory or whatever against that. But when they moved 33 miles to Arlington Heights, right?
Right.
Can we take the Colts, and I will ask them if they decide to go to Arlington Heights, I will put the full court pressure on and say, come on, man, finally, we're paying money into that stadium down there as the state of Indiana, and we're up here. The Colts have a presence up here. Northwest Indiana maybe used to be yours, but let's see if we could carry the Colts. I mean, I love the Colts, and that would be the next step. But if the Bears do go to Arlington Heights, we have gotten the kind of promotion and people realizing, wow, that place has lower taxes. It has great location. It has great transit. I mean, it's really and it's got a lot of people. It's not a bad place to put a pro sports franchise. So, yes, I agree with that. I agree with your supposition of that situation. I would love to have the Bears here. I'm a big proponent of it. I'm the radio station in the town they want to go to. You can imagine what kind of, that will add to my value. But I don't. And if they go to Soldier Field, which is my, that would be a good one too. I like where they're at. But going to Arlington Heights, that puts a different glove on the hand, man. That's different. And then Northwest Indiana people are going to be pissed that we've twice been used as leverage. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I don't remember whether I heard it on the TV or read it in the Chicago papers. But what I learned was that while they're not saying this publicly, that the McCaskies really want to leave Chicago. They do not want to have the Bears play in Chicago. They're really thinking Arlington Heights, maybe, or Indiana.
Indiana's the best choice, Walt. It is as an investment. I mean, the taxes are lower. The facilities there. I mean, we had a guy call in early on and said, "Hey, you got to watch about the composition of that's old industrial site, and hopefully you can build on it." But other than that, it's the best site, man. It's right by downtown. It's 13 miles. You could ride your bike from south side of Chicago there in about an hour. You know what I mean? There it is. Not even an hour. It's just, it's the best. And the view, can you imagine the view? I mean, it's a great site. I hope they take it. And if not, they stay in the city of Chicago. But if they go to Arlington Heights, that's worlds away from us. You ever drive to Arlington Heights during rush hour?
Yes.
It's awful. Hey, we got to go, buddy. Let's take a short break. On the other side, Hammond, Mayor Tom McDermott on the voice and face of the Calumet region.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention, and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
State Senator Dan Durnell was supposed to be different. He promised to fight for Hoosier families and stand with President Trump. He failed. Durnell voted against President Trump's agenda in Washington. That hurt Hoosier families, and he voted to let a Chinese company buy Hoosier farmland, putting China before us. Dan Durnell, opposing Trump, voting like a liberal, letting us down. A disgrace.
President Trump has endorsed conservative Trevor DeVries for state senate, a real Republican who will fight for Hoosier values. Trevor DeVries will stand with Trump, protect Hoosier farmland from China, defeat the liberal agenda, and never let you down. A true America First conservative. The right choice for Indiana. Endorsed by Trump, Trevor DeVries for state senate. Election day is May 5th. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
Hey, everybody, AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM, 294 around the city looks good, 80 going east and west looks good. The Bishop Ford up the gut of the Southland, it runs fine till the end of the Steel Bridge, and it's red lights and a garbage dump, and then it's kind of bad all the way up and stop and go all the way up the Dan Ryan. Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65 are all moving along well. Lynette Lopez with the weather.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 63 degrees with highs of 66 and lows of 50. It's going to be mostly cloudy, and later tonight it's going to be clearing. Patchy fog will reduce visibility late. And tomorrow on Thursday we'll be having highs of 82 and lows of 61. Should be warmer with clouds and sunshine with patchy fog, and then becoming breezy in the afternoon. And then Friday we'll be having highs of 74 and lows of 48. Should be cloudy and not as warm with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm.
And don't forget, you can go to the Heartland Sports Network. There's all sorts of should be nice weather today and tomorrow, so you'll be able to watch some baseball and some softball. Today you could watch like Judson at Cal College softball, and we'll have a full crew out there. You want to watch some boys volleyball? It's actually a really good watch. Give it a shot. Tonight it'll be Morton at BNI and a whole bunch of other boys volleyball. Coming up over the weekend, Friday night, we'll be out at Railcat Stadium, Lake Station, and River Forest. And then Monday, big softball game out at Munster Community Park, and it'll be Andrean at Munster and softball. And there's all sorts of other games in between. Please download the Heartland Sports Network app. You might, on some services, still have to download the JED TV Sports app. Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott, how are you?
Hey, Jim. How's it going?
I'm doing all right. Let's
Martin Lynette.
Hello.
Thank you for getting that name right. I can't believe you're not going to eat any of this. I baked it last night.
Did you really?
Yeah, I bake. I'm a baker now.
I don't have those skills. I'm not a good cook or a baker. I'm lucky I can make cereal. Honestly, Marissa refuses to let me cook. So,
and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Do you man the barbecue?
No, I'm not good at it. I think it's like art. And I'm not good at art either. So, like, I think to be a good cook, you have to have detail-oriented and patient, and those are qualities I'm not very good at, either of them. I'm not detail-oriented, and I'm not patient. So,
you know, we both know a guy who's pretty good at art. You know, the cow guy.
Yeah.
You had him on your podcast and so forth. And can we?
I listen to him a lot. I actually, as you know, I love the stock market also, and the cow guy's a smart guy, so I like listening to his perspective.
Yeah, he's got a national show now, and he puts all this stuff up. And by the way, let's promote your podcast.
Sure, it's on break right now, but we start next week. Left of Center podcast, I believe next Tuesday. It's a week from yesterday is our first episode.
And who do you have on the first one?
Usually the first one we don't have anybody.
You just kind of go on and josh
we
around.
Just sort of catch up because we've been off for like 3 weeks. So.
And the Left of Center podcast has gotten very popular.
Thanks, I appreciate it. It's we've been doing it. I think we got 450 shows now. Believe it or not, it's not bad. You know.
Thank you for taking your show to podcast.
Yeah.
And
I only lost my insurance once so far.
You guys don't know the beginning of that. The mayor did a show with me for 15 years.
I never got sued when I was on JOB.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I literally after one show, I'm like, dude, you know, I got to be honest with you. You need to go to a podcast. You're gonna get me sued, dude. And
it's a pain in the butt losing your insurance. I have to admit it.
6 months later,
we were like, are we going to be able to go back on the air? And finally, somebody was smart enough to insure us, and they charged us twice the premium.
Yes, it gets expensive, and my insurance agent hadn't noticed yet, but I'm like, they're going to come to me and they're going to slap me a little higher. And you went to podcast, and of course, boom. 6 months later, there it is, boom. But
we're going to win that case, but it's just like it's an expensive process.
Oh, and it just takes so much time. It's kind of, I hate to bring the other one in, is the SSCVA situation.
I was listening to you guys talk about that the other day.
It takes a long time. And
yeah, and I heard you guys talking about the bills the other day about how much they're spending in litigation. I want to remind everybody, we didn't ask to get sued by Batistados. We didn't, he sued everybody. And, obviously I think Hammond, we extracted ourselves from that lawsuit pretty well. And I'm still personally in it. And I don't really feel it's appropriate, but, I'm going to let the judge wait to make that decision. But, if there's anything you could be critical about with the amount of bills SSCVA paid, is I don't think they needed to go to Barnes and Thornburg to do this. It's like one of the most expensive law firms in the state of Indiana. You could have gone to Eichhorn and Eichhorn. You could have gone to a lot of great local firms that could have done just as good a job. The decision at the time, and this is before Phil was there, by the way, the decision was made to go down to Barnes and Thornburg, which is one of the most expensive law firms in the state of Indiana. And so everybody's shocked now that it's $1.3 million in litigation fees, but they could have probably done that for a third of the price if they stayed local and went to Eichhorn and Eichhorn or any of the great local firms we have here, That's what I was critical about.
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you an example. And this has to do with your dad, who I have great amount of respect for.
Thanks.
And in a lot of times, he gave me some confidential
I'm sure
talks, and he said, hey, when you're doing this, when you're doing that, and I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. So, but in the beginning, he and I were kind of fighting for WJOB.
Right.
And then I looked around. I was just a Board of Trade guy. I don't know anybody. I don't know who's good. So I called downstate, and I looked around, and lo and behold, the best attorney for this was out of Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And one of these major law firms, and was very expensive.
Right.
And I hired that law firm to go against your
and
dad.
And you won. By the way.
We won. And
right.
I was like, and people are like, well, why'd you do that, man? That guy was really good. And, you probably would have lost if you had hired somebody local, because he had really.
I think in a case like yours, Jim, that's probably more true. But in the SSCVB, it's an age employment discrimination case. And I get it. Like, they want to get Barnes and Thornburg to make sure that they're going to stick it to Spiros. Okay, I get it, right? But you didn't need to, in my opinion. Yeah. You could have gone local. We have great local firms that are great litigators. You could have easily gone to them and probably done it for a third of the price. But at the time the decision was made, we really want to stick it to Batistados, and they went to Barnes and Thornburg, and here we are.
Well, and not only that was 22 years ago. There wasn't. I mean, now there are great lawyers around here. There's a number of great lawyers.
Oh, yeah.
Then it was a little more limited. And quite frankly,
your area, FCC, come on.
Yeah, it was
that's
FCC, and it was bankruptcy and all that stuff, and it was really specialized.
I get that.
And there was like two people, and I'm like, isn't that person and I thought your dad might have had some association with both of them. So I was like, all right, we got to go downstate. But I understand, because Michelle Quinn's kind of the reporter that was
following
she
that. She's always followed us at CVB.
Yeah, and she's gone after that, and she's getting FOIA requests on the law stuff, and it's adding up.
I get called by Michelle quite a bit. She's always on that story, and of course I get called because I'm unfortunately part of that story as well. I got looped into. They make a decision to let the guy go, and then I get sued. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how did I get looped into this? But
getting sued is just. I mean, how you've gotten sued or sued people. I mean, as soon as you're involved in that, it kind of takes a little bit of your mind away from what you're doing.
That's the purpose of it, I think. They just want to
sometimes.
Knock you out. Well, in politics, that's a big thing too. Is like sometimes you just want to get in their head a little bit, and so you do things that you probably wouldn't have done in normal circumstances, but you do it just because you want to knock them off their beat a little bit. That's
Trump 101. He doesn't want to win. He just wants to put you off your game.
Oh,
man.
for sure.
Yeah. Hey, let's go right to a couple of things.
Sure. By the way, I love the new studio. It's cool.
Thank you.
I was shocked when I came in. I was not expecting the studio to be right here. It's like I thought I was going back into the old place. So.
Yeah. We
this is cool.
Yeah, it really is. We're excited about what has transpired. I sent my guys. I sent 3 of them to NAB, National Association of Broadcasters. Are coming back today, and they're going to come back with a wish list. So it might look a little bit different after this. But hey, let's go right at it.
Sure.
Walt just called in.
Yeah, I was listening.
And I'm going to go at the Bears thing. Everybody's covered it from every different angle, but he brought something up very important. You've been on national, international news. Hammond's been featured as, wow, why would they even think about Northwest Indiana? What is this place? my buddies call me from I went to college with 40 years ago, or call me from L.A. going, man, don't you live in Ham? Isn't that where your radio station is? And yeah, I can't believe they're even thinking of coming there. So Walt posited that, you know, even if they don't come, which we think they are and we hope they are,
right?
I mean, we've gotten a lot of promotion. What do you think will be the effect of all that promotion?
It's a good question. I listened to Walt's question, and it's, you know, the thing, Walt's right, but he said, you know, are we going to get a lot more interest from businesses in Illinois and, you know, that are like, wow, I didn't think about it. We already are, honestly. The Bears are doing what other businesses have been doing already. Right now, we're dealing with a crane company out of Illinois that's coming to Hammond. It's like a $30-35 million investment. You know, Meats by Lynn's, American Stair. Like, I could rattle off 10 businesses that have come into Hammond within the last few years that are fleeing Illinois, so to speak, and they're coming to us. So I think if the Bears, first off, the Bears talking about this, it's definitely opened people's minds up a little bit more. But if the Bears do, I have a feeling you're going to hear a giant sucking sound coming out of Illinois. It's going to be like a stampede to get into not just Hammond, into Northwest Indiana. I really feel that way. And it's already happening because of the differential business climate. You know, we are much better in the long term for the Bears. I agree with you, Jim. If it's the only thing that's keeping the Bears in Illinois right now is nostalgia. Hate to break it to you, Illinois residents. That's it.
Well, hell has started here.
Yeah.
In Hammond.
Right. I sat next to George McCaskey for 5 hours last week, okay? And he is definitely open-minded about coming to Indiana. He's got family in Northwest Indiana, by the way, in Valpo. And my son is part of that family because he married into the O'Neill family, who's married into the McCaskey family. So they have family in the region. And the O'Neills are season ticket holders at the Bears game, and the O'Neills know Mr. McCaskey very well. And so they have a presence in the region. It's not like the region is some foreign entity to George McCaskey. It's not. Maybe to Kevin Warren is, but it's not to George McCaskey. And to me, I think he's one of the most important people we need to persuade right now. And he's, by the way, love him. You know the guy, he umpires baseball and referees basketball. This guy's a billionaire. And he does it. He probably gets $50 a game. He goes out there, and I'm like, do people know it's you? And he said, yeah, sometimes they do. A lot of times they have no idea it's me. He's out there in an umpire uniform calling balls and strikes.
And some dad in the stands is yelling at him.
It's George McCaskey, but they have no clue. It's cool, though, man. It's like he doesn't have to do that. He's a billionaire. He's just a pretty cool guy. I like him a lot. And Kevin Warren's really nice guy. And I met the whole team, like all the big wigs from like marketing and finance and legal and all the consultants. It's just, they have a great team. It's really cool to see that side of it. I got to meet Ryan Poles, which is cool, general manager. And, you know, it's just sort of a cool thing as a fan, just being able to, like, meet all these people you know so well just from the news, you know.
You weren't asking for autographs, were you?
No,
Right,
I wanted to, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But none of the players were there. I would have freaked if Caleb Williams walked by, but, you know, it was all the big wigs.
So let's talk about the relationship here. I was looking at the deal overnight, and as a business person, you know, if I brought it out into business, hey, let's all look at this. It's better to come here. It's just better. It's just a better place, night and day. And I get it. It's only 13 miles from Soldier Field. The other one's like 30.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you agree with me? The only thing keeping them there is nostalgia? It's like the Chicago Bears moving out of Illinois is a big deal. That's it. It's not a business deal that's keeping them there. It's not money. They're going to stay despite the fact that they'll save billions by coming to Indiana if they stay in Chicago. It's not because Illinois gave them a better deal. It's because they didn't want to alienate a fan base, basically.
Well, I think that the initial reaction from, let's just call it like the arrogance of Illinois toward Indiana, and the only reason I can talk about this relatively with a decent amount of credibility is that I lived in Griffith and Munster, and I went up every day to trade in the pits of the Board of Trade. And almost my entire career, I was the only guy from Indiana in that pit.
That's funny.
And they would, you know, hey, dude, I saw a horse trailer on the Dan Ryan. Was that yours? I mean, and, you know, they would talk about, like, white trash stuff, they would just rip on me from being from Indiana as if I was rural and didn't have manners and that kind of thing. And it was daily for 18, 19 years that I was in the pits. and that was from the south side of Chicago, from Beverly and Bridgeport, all the way up to Kenilworth and Arlington Heights and Rosemont, anywhere anybody lived. At least you could look down at Indiana and make fun of Jed sitting there. Now, it was nice when I would steal a trade from them or whatever, but there was a consistent arrogance toward Indiana. Now, if they do come to Indiana, there will be that initial shock. If you remember a long time ago, one of the Outlaws, it reminded me when they moved the Giants and the Jets out to New Jersey, and there was a huge hullabaloo. No, nobody after a year, nobody cared.
They just renewed their lease.
Yeah, they're like, wow, it's really cool.
It's not even a big deal at this point. This is after their first
It was 1 year. He said it was 1 year. You would pick up the paper and every day, and they would just rip on.
Oh yeah,
they ripped on New Jersey and just ripped on it, and then he goes, and it's gone, and people go to a game and they're like, wow, it's nice to get out of the city, and it, you feel safe and all that. So I mean, where are we right now? Where are we?
I wish we were further along. I'm sick of this. I'll be honest with you. I've been dealing with this since the holidays. Let's just say that, okay? So this has been like every day of my life.
That and a lawsuit. Who's running the city?
I'm still running the city, but I wish it was going faster. I know nothing's going to happen until the Illinois legislature's done with this session, which is the end of May. Nothing's going to happen. The Bears are being smart, just like anybody in their position would be. They're going to compare the two deals, and they're hoping. Obviously, Indiana acted quick, and I want to thank Governor Braun and Speaker Houston and Senator Mishler and everybody, all the local officials that helped get this across the finish line so quick. It's amazing how, it's noticeable. So. But the Bears are doing what I think if you own the Bears, you'd be doing the same thing right now, Jim. Is like, okay, let's see what Illinois has to say, and then we'll compare them. And, if Illinois drops the ball, it's over. Put it that way. If Illinois doesn't come through before the end of May, it's over. They're coming to Hammond. I can tell you that. But I have a feeling Illinois is going to respond, and then the question is, how much do the Bears value a good deal? Because I think our deal is going to be better than what Illinois offers.
I think in Illinois they want to do payment in lieu of taxes.
Pilot,
and here they just no taxes. Here you go. And then when it's all paid off, they can buy it for $1. I mean, if you just even if Illinois does their major construction bill and you put it side by side with Indiana, other than that first year of taking a public relations hit from snooty people from Kenilworth, it's still a better deal.
It is, Jim. It's a lot better deal. I estimated over the life of and it's 35 years. It could be longer, by the way. 35 by contract, okay? Over that period of time, it's probably $2 billion savings by coming to Hammond. $2 billion. Now, I don't know how wealthy you are if you could just say, I don't need that $2 billion over the next 35 years. To me, though, a good business move would be, I'd rather have $2 billion 35 years from now than give it to government in Illinois, where it's just wasted. It doesn't pay for one player. It doesn't pay for anything. It just pays for taxes, which is, I'd rather be in Indiana and save $2 billion. But like I said, if they stay in Illinois, it's not because Illinois is a better business climate, that's for sure. They're doing it to appease the people that you're talking about for the first year.
So there are a lot of aspects of this and in the deal making and so forth. And I understand there is some not secrecy, but just stuff that you don't want to play out. So
I can't.
Let's get
at risk of putting the whole deal.
You put the whole deal. But so let's go past it.
Sure.
And let's play make believe.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears come out. It's June 21st. They're talking maybe early summer probably is their decision.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? It's late June. And the Bears are like, dude, we're Hoosiers.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to Hammond. We're back where George Hellas started, right down the street here.
Yeah.
And he was here in the 1920s, and he had a lot of fun here and a lot of home. And I posit, and I'm putting my Substack that this is the spirit of George Hellas saying, hey, man, I want to go back to Hammond. I liked it there.
I hope you're right.
But he does. And the spirit of George Hellas comes home. What does the Wolf Lake area look like after this stadium is built?
It's different, massively different. It looks a lot more like downtown Chicago, I imagine. I'm not saying it's going to have the skyscrapers that downtown Chicago has, but a lot of the same services that are around Soldier Field or in the general vicinity would be, like hotels, for instance. somebody's going to want to be close to the stadium, right? Maybe a couple of hotels. And if you have hotels, you need restaurants. And then you got Wolf Lake in the summer there. And this is the type of place that's going to host concerts year-round, so we'll have major acts like Metallica playing there. Taylor Swift will be playing there. They'll have college football playoff games there. They'll have Final Four basketball games there. All this will be taking place in Hammond. And so you're going to want hotels and infrastructure close to it. You're going to see a massive change in things that we've grown accustomed to. That'll go away because they have to, because we have to be able to bring in 65,000 people, every weekend for football games. We have to be able to accommodate the cars and the traffic. You might see infrastructure improvements as far as like maybe a train line extension, and it's possible. There's a lot of things that are possible. We're looking at this whole area in a different scope. So
just to play make-believe, the train line extension would basically be possibly a spur that would go back to the South Shore. That now the spur goes south,
right?
Spur would actually go north.
It's about a mile and a half.
Yeah,
away.
about a mile and a half. So,
and there's a connection, by the way, from the Gateway Station. There's a connection that gets you to the front doorstep of the stadium. It's possible. It's not even, and it wouldn't be as comprehensive as what we just did to get down to the Dyer Munster train station, right? It'd be more like just electric shuttle service back and forth, but it's possible. And I think the Bears are definitely interested in that. So
I want to talk about the South Shore, and I want to talk about 177th Street.
Yeah.
And then do you want to, can you stay for another segment, or do you got to go?
Yeah, no,
all right, let's take a short break, and we'll be right back on the voice and face of the region.
Hi, my name is John Patalis, and I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
Good morning, everyone. Today we are at 65 degrees with highs of 66 and lows of 50. It's going to be mostly cloudy, and then later tonight should be clearing with some patchy fog. Tomorrow and Thursday we'll be having highs of 82 and lows of 61. Should be warmer with clouds and sunshine with some patchy fog in the morning, then becoming breezy in the afternoon. Friday we'll be having highs of 74 and lows of 48, and it should be cloudy and not as warm with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm.
Bingo.
You had the camera on you, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. They didn't get to see that. I spilled my coffee all over everything, and it's very messy. Sorry about that. I got coffee all over the place. Hey, everybody, you did that. Let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city. Looks pretty good, actually. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway. Is my mic good? Good level's good. Skyway. looks good. But the Bishop Ford into the Dan Ryan, that's your problem. The Borman actually looks good. I-65 also looks good. Hammond, Mayor Tom McDermott's here.
Hey.
Mayor, let's talk about 177th place.
Yeah.
Please explain what the problem is.
Well, I mean, it's not Hammond's problem.
It's not yet.
Yeah. Well, 177th off of Klein Avenue is a stretch of about, let's call it a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile of road that's technically in Highland. It is not even technically, it's in Highland. And Highlands used it for a long time to get to their storage area for yard waste and stuff like that. They come in off of either Liable on the west or on 177th on the east. And from what I understand, Highland doesn't want to maintain that stretch anymore from Klein Avenue to the river, and they wanted Hammond to pay for it. So they sent us a bill for $800,000 and said, "Hey, you guys got to pay for this, or else we're going to shut it down." And it's dude, we have our own issues over here. Obviously this is road in Highland, so we got that text, and I was talking to Phil Scaringa. He's a councilman. He's also a Hammond firefighter, so him and I have a great relationship. And Phil's a great councilman in Highland, and he promised me he's going to try to coordinate between Hammond and Highland, and we're going to get NDOT involved and, see if we can come up with a solution. I get where Highland's coming from. How about that? I get it. There's no people that live on 177th, and it's like shortcut used by residents of Hammond, Highland, and Griffith to get from basically Klein over to Kennedy without getting on the highway. So a lot of people
they could go to BW3s, they go to Byway, they could go to Gasovitz's buildings, they could cut over there to the South Shore. Yeah, they can go to
I use that as a shortcut.
Everybody does.
Of course.
It's kind of it's similar to going up here, right, and going down Summer Street, and then continuing on to downtown Hammond on the unknown road. I don't even know what it's called. I think it's State Street that goes under the. You get all the way downtown, and you're like, this is like a highway.
Yeah.
And you got to know about it, though. Well, similar to that road goes right next to the Rookery, and it's awful.
Yeah, it's right now. It's like
you can't even ride your bike on it.
But that's on Highland side, and I guess Highland's getting sued by people that are popping their tires and stuff like that. So Highland's like, hey, we can't tell people to drive on this anymore, and if they do drive on it, they're going to sue us. So I don't think Highland is the one that closed it. It's closed now because I think the county's working on that bridge there. But now the county's working on a bridge that's never going to be used because Highland has no intention to reopen 177th. So they sent us, their public works director sent me an email saying, hey, FYI, we're not reopening this. And I'm like, okay. And I had just happened to be going to NERPC that day. NERPC is a transportation agency. And it was a full commission hearing, so everybody was there. And I brought it up in the middle of the meeting, which is probably sort of a jerk move. But I did because that's my job, is to push the issue. And I brought it up in front of everybody. I was like, hey, this is NERPC. I think everybody should know that Highlands made the decision to close 177th. And that's going to affect people in this room. Obviously, it affects my residents, but it affects Highland residents, affects Griffith residents for sure. And Rick Rifa happened to be there when I said it. And I brought it up, and I could tell Tom Black, who's the Highland Town Councilman that's making this decision, I could tell Tom Black was wanted to shrink into his chair. But I brought it up, and it's and the press picked it up, and now we're
what
talking
do you
about
want to happen with this situation?
I'm not going to tell Highland what to do, but it's a big decision. I've closed down streets before, and it's controversial. So I just wanted everybody to know what's going on. I'll let Highland figure out what to do with Highland's roads, but I think it's a bad mistake, personally, but I'm not a Highland Town Councilman, so.
South Shore has come to Hammond. You got the Gateway Station. You got down there off of Lyman.
I was on one of the first trains, so.
So what does that do for Hammond?
Oh, it's already doing. Well, downtown Hammond is a different environment now because we have a train station that's under construction there, and we have a train line that passes right through it. And, you and I, our generation, we don't ride trains as much as Lynette's generation does, So, I hear a lot of young people that want to live close to that train line. And from what I understand, a lot of young people don't even get their driver's license anymore. So the fact that we have this train line gives young people reason to live downtown, and I'm seeing it. The bank is 100% full, and that's something I'll tell you, Jim. I've been mayor for 23 years. Let's say 18 of those 23 years was trying to figure out what to do with that 8-story empty building in downtown Hammond. Are we going to demolish that, or are we going to try to fill it? And we filled it 100%, and that's the South Shore train line definitely helped us with that. That's a fact. And I know there's a lot of people that listen to your station that hate that project, but that's a fact. I mean, I've been trying to fill that building for 18 years, and now it's filled. And it's got people from all over. It's people from Chicago. It's people from Northwest Indiana. It's old, young. It's very diverse. It's market rate, right in downtown Hammond, filled.
Well, certainly there were issues. By the way, Lynette, I don't have anything in my ears. Can you give me some ear stuff? Because we're going to take some phone calls. Mayor's going to take your phone calls live. 219-845-1100. Get in line right now. There were problems it was slow and it was over budget.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's all sorts of issues with it. But it's built now.
It's beautiful, too.
It is beautiful. And I'm the same way. I'm like, all right, they kind of messed it up. I'm not a huge fan of the, NICD, that kind of thing. But they are, all right, thank you. It's there.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting in, thank you, I did have a short, is that the Bears are looking at us. We're kitty corner here from the largest YMCA in the world, and quite frankly, the nicest YMCA.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
And you put a bunch of money into the Sportsplex, one of the largest volleyball facilities in America.
$30 million.
Yeah. And right around the corner, on the other corner, is Hutamaki put in
$100+ million.
I think it was, $140 million or something like that. I want to thank you personally for
driving up the value of your property.
Yeah, I've got to pay my taxes here in about a couple of weeks, and they are significantly higher because of you.
I think I'm the only person in Hammond that's happy when assessed values go up, because I think that's a reflection of the job we're doing. It's like we're making your building worth more money, and I'm happy with that. But usually the people that get the assessment aren't happy because that means they have to pay higher taxes.
Oh, it's way higher.
Right, but that's good for me. That means if you do have to sell, and I try to point this out to people, if you do have to sell your building, you're going to love the fact that we're doing this. And that's my job, man. Like, I got hired to raise the assessed value of this city. I didn't get hired to lower the assessed value of this city, So, we're doing a good job, and people are getting higher tax bills, and they're like, Mayor, my assessed value went up $10,000 on my home. I'm like, I know, isn't that great?
Oh, you're
like,
lucky
no.
if it went up $10,000.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's $150,000 houses that are now paying it at $230,000.
Yeah,
and that's just how it is in Hammond. I mean, paying $230,000 for a regular house now. $230,000 was like Forest Avenue back in the day. So, I guess
this house is over in the Clark High School football field are going for $700,000 and up. Those are some of the most expensive homes.
Dedelow Parkway there,
Dedelow
right
Parkway.
there.
Awesome. Yeah, true story.
So I had a guy text me when I went to the bathroom, just to go back to the Bears thing. Do you got to get rid of Lost Marsh Golf Course if the Bears come?
I can't really talk about this stuff.
Okay, we won't do that.
I can't because honestly, that whole area is a black hole for me. I can't talk about anything in that black hole. It's like there's 350 acres that I can't really talk about, and it's the Lost Marsh and the Wolf Lake area. Okay?
Well, I just know a little bit.
But I appreciate you asking, and I'm not trying to be.
I'm asking what is
coming
to me.
There's certain things that I can't talk about. That's definitely one of them.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of them. But I will say this: I do know.
I would soak it up though. If I'm just saying, because it could go away and it may not go away. Who knows what happens? But I would soak it up. If you love the Lost Marsh, I would soak it up.
Well, part of it is that when my cousin was mayor and went to build it, they found out that there was slag underneath.
Oh, yeah.
And then they hired my other cousin's trenching company or site to knock out all the slag.
Right.
So I know if there's a piece of property that is buildable in Northwest Indiana, it's Lost Marsh Golf Course because it's all been cleaned out.
But you're right, though. The land is clean
Yeah.
except for the slag. And slag isn't dirty in itself. It's just hard to build.
Yes.
You have to, pound your way through it. You have to, use explosives and drills and – so it'll be a very secure place if that's where they build it.
So I guess the summary before we go to the phone calls is that, and it's not just me as a Hammond business, I'm okay paying higher taxes. I know that the growth and the location and the people all listening, I know it's adding to the value of my business. But it's like all of a sudden all this stuff is happening. Why? I mean, the South Shore comes, the Y
That's a
comes,
good question.
Hutamaki comes, Sportsplex comes.
It's a lot of luck.
You got Lynn's over here. He wants more space. He wants to grow.
Yeah.
I
know he's already outgrowing his.
He's already outgrown it. Yeah. I mean, and there are a number of other. You're talking to the crane
company,
guy.
right?
It makes sense to come here,
Oh, yeah.
and others are looking at Hammond. But why all of a sudden?
Well, first off, there's a lot of different answers to that, but I have to give props to the governor and the supermajority, okay? And I know you laugh when I do this because he's like my bestie now, right?
Oh,
the governor mentioned me in the State of the State. So, like, I'm his favorite mayor right now. And I'm, like, been the outcast my whole career.
Do you think I'm the only one that has a quiet chuckle at that?
Oh, I know. It is funny. I laugh at myself.
All right.
But, like, okay, so, like, I do have to give credit to the state of Indiana, including the governor, about the gap that we have between how the cost of doing business in Northwest Indiana versus Chicago is such a big gap that it makes people think about it, despite the fact that for years when you were working downtown and when I was working downtown, they made fun of Indiana. Now they're like, damn, if I move to Indiana, I'll save millions annually. So why wouldn't we consider it? It's right across the border. So that is a huge part of what we're talking about. And it's just not just applicable to Hammond, it's to the whole region. We're all getting it. You know, you see all this stuff happening on 65. That's stuff in the old days that was going to Illinois, you know. So that's part of it for sure. Part of it's luck, honestly, that all these things just happen to be hitting right now, you know, like the Sportsplex expansion. That's just over the years, it's just been blowing up. And we had access. Well, we passed the food and beverage tax. I know you and Chuck were talking about that, where we did two things with the food and beverage tax. We did the Sportsplex expansion and the downtown train station. So, you know, that went down a couple years ago. But it all seems to be hitting like right now, which for me is it's pretty awesome. I mean, we're in the middle of everything right now.
Before you go, I want to talk about Josh Huddleston getting $47 million. But
that's
I want
not
to
just $47 million, Jim. He's going to get like $200 million.
I know, and it's kind of funny. He's our football announcer on Friday nights.
Josh and I are real good friends. He's one of my favorite. You know, he's one of my favorite.
All right, let's
players.
just ask it right now since I brought it up.
Yeah,
he's getting this massive windfall,
right.
And I asked the appropriate question in I guess a confidential conversation. But I asked him, and I'm like, "What are you going to do with this money? What would your suggestion be to somebody that gets a $200 million windfall?"
First off, he needs to get reelected, and that's going to be a challenge because a lot of his residents are mad. And I'm not saying I love Josh, and I don't think it's right that he's under so much pressure right now because before Josh made that deal for Hobart was flat broke. One of the most broke cities in Northwest Indiana because of the mall and the assessment and the fact they had to pay backwards and the state had to give them permission to pay it backwards and they were way over the cap. And then Josh made this deal. Now, Hobart is one of the wealthiest cities in the state of Indiana, including Carmel, including all these wealthy places, and he fixed their finances. Now, granted, he did it with bringing in a data center, and I know some of his residents are angry about that, but what was the answer? Having a broke city is not good either. You got to lay off firemen, you got to lay off policemen, teachers, roads go bad, and he fixed that. Now they're wealthy. So I think it's a shame if he's penalized for that. I think it's a shame. I think Josh is a great mayor, and he made a tough decision in spite of the fact that he had tons of pressure not to, and he pulled the trigger and did what was right, in my opinion. So
219-845-1100. Take some phone calls. Hey, get your question out, and then the mayor will answer it.
Here you go.
Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning. I just want to say kudos to the mayor. What a great job he's done for Hammond.
Thank you, sir.
And, you know, they always say that history repeats itself. Good morning, sir. History repeats itself. And, you know, George Hallis is going to come in. I'm a firm believer. I think he'll be back in Hammond. And it's what I look at it this way. If Mayor Tom McDermott could be on the radio with Jed Dedelow, you know what? Hey, better things are to come. This is Safety Steve calling from Arizona.
You had to go there, but thank you. So
Thanks.
Hold on a second. George Hallis is may come back to Hammond. What about you?
Yeah, you know what? I tell you what.
Is this Steve? I didn't catch that.
Stanek from
Dude,
Arizona.
I follow you on. Yeah, Steve knows I follow him on Facebook. The other day you were playing at some venue, and I listened to the whole song, and I'm like, damn, Steve. First off, looks amazing. I know how old you are. You look great, and secondly, you're just a very talented guy, Steve. You're like, it's pretty cool. You're like an amazing athlete, firefighter, retired. Now you're like living your second life out there. So I'm proud of you, man.
Hey, Tom, I got to tell you, I really enjoyed myself at the Festival of the Lakes. And the cool thing was when you were throwing them T-shirts out, I was able to catch one. What a great thing you've done for the city.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you.
You know, I can't thank you enough. You know, sometimes people always, you know, they'll complain about things, but you know, in life, things are thrown at you for reasons, and we never know what these reasons are. And you know what? But good things come from bad things, always. And you look at the city of Hammond, you know, everybody, and Jed, everybody talked down about Hammond, about Indiana. Now look how fast we're growing. And what's even more amazing, I'm at Banner Boswell Hospital in Arizona working. I ran into Sheringa's relative that works here. She's from Hobart.
No way.
3, 4, 5 people from Gary, and the big talk here is, hey man, the Chicago Bears are going to be the Hammond Bears. I go, you know what? It's going to happen. You have to have faith, and I can't say enough good things that you've done for
Thanks,
the city.
bud.
And
I appreciate
and,
you,
you know,
Steve.
and you look at what Jed did with WJOB, and I even wrote a song for Jed. And my buddy Ricky Suarez from County McPainting, he's going to bring it in, and they can play it. So
nice.
Thanks,
buddy.
life is great, and I want. It's amazing.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
brother.
Thanks a lot.
Nice hearing from you, Steve.
219-845-1100. Hey, you are on the air. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Mayor.
Hi.
Just had a couple questions for you.
Sure.
One about the Harrison Park, and then number two, I know, of course, when you guys announced the Bears thing, I had to go look around at land available in Hammond, and there's a huge plot of land that would butt up against East Chicago Central on the Hammond side, over there by those warehouse on the by Goslin in that area. What is that? Who owns that land? Does the city own that land?
BP.
Oh, BP. Actually.
Yeah, that's like the big. It's the same area you see that when you're driving down Calumet Avenue, when you're over by Industrial Strip and that whole area, American Stair. Off to your right is that it's a big natural area owned by BP, and it goes all the way out there towards East Chicago, like you're talking about, sir. So that's that. And the first question was
Harrison Park.
Harrison Park. That's a project.
Harrison Park.
We're doing a project there. Councilman Tyler and the park department teamed up to reline that pond out there. So that's the project they're going through right now. They're relining the whole thing, and they're going to fill it, and it'll be a lot better shape than it's been over the last few years. So we had problems in that pond with turtles, believe it or not. The turtles get in there and they eat all the cords. We used to have like this really pretty sprinkler in the middle of it, and the turtles just destroy everything. So not that they're eradicating the turtles, but they're lining the whole thing and just starting from scratch, basically. And I want to thank Councilman Tyler he lined up a lot of the work that's being done there. So I appreciate Barry and what he's done for that.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, I remember working for your dad back in the 90s, early 90s.
Thank you.
That park.
What did you do there?
And,
what did you do there?
I worked for the park department.
So you know about my turtle issue, huh?
And we used to have to do all the work, at the parks, paint them and all that stuff. And Harrison Park was a gem back then.
Yeah, man.
I remember they used to do the 4th of July ceremony there, and it was a big deal, and I'm glad to see you redoing it.
Councilman Barry loves Harrison Park, and he's he done a lot of what's going on right now is because Councilman Barry pushed so hard. So it's a beautiful park, I agree, and it needs some TLC for sure. So we're starting it now.
And I love how you're making these businesses improve their storefronts and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, it's being noticed in Hammond.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
219-845-1100. Go. You're on with him.
I miss talking to callers, by the way. This is the one thing about Lockpod we can't replicate is,
well,
we don't have callers
here's the
calling
thing.
in.
You had two kind of little love fests there. Eventually, someone's going to come
true.
in
Then
and
I'll be
you're going
like,
to go,
"Screw
like,
these."
I can't
Yeah.
believe I'm taking these calls. Hey, 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air.
Hi.
Here comes that call.
Oh, no. What's up, Madman?
My question is, why did you, as the mayor of Hammond, steal the Chicago Bears idea from the city of Gary, according to the Tuesday host, who you refer to as "See You Next Tuesday"?
All right, we're good.
And
Let's
then
take that call. All right,
when are you gonna
end
come
the
play
call,
pickleball?
end the call before you say something stupid. But he's got a good point with that question.
What's that?
Gary wanted this too. And now all of a sudden the Bears are only talking to you and not Gary. What happened there?
That was the way it was from the beginning. I was under an NDA. Nobody could talk from Hammond. The only city that was being considered the entire time was Hammond. And during that whole phase when Portage and South Bend and Gary and everybody everybody was competing for the Cubs, and I couldn't say a word. And it was extremely frustrating. We were chosen already. We already were working with the Bears on due diligence at that point. So everybody was focused on, and then it became like the consensus pick amongst everybody that Gary was the one that was competing, and we couldn't say, you guys are all wrong. It's Hammond, but we just had to sit there.
See, we're under an NDA, so I won't go too deep into that, but I will go in a larger sense. Your relationship with Mayor Eddie Melton
is
what?
We're professional. We know each other well. I've known Eddie his entire career. I mean, I respect Eddie. I think he's doing a good job.
All right, there it is.
Yeah, I like Eddie. Eddie came to my fundraiser just recently, and Eddie had the Michael Jackson premiere, and he invited me. I had VIP tickets, and I couldn't attend because we had the same time we had a council meeting that night. So it's a good enough relationship where we invite each other to things, and if he had an event, I'd show up. And I mean, I'm not telling you Eddie and I are best friends all the time, and I'm sure he'd say the same thing, but I respect Eddie, and he's got a tough job, and he's doing a good job. I mean, I think it's not going to be easy to beat Eddie Melton. If you're interested in running for Gary mayor, I think he's done a good enough job to get reelected for sure. So
219-845-1100. Let's take another one. Hey, you are on the air with Mayor Tom McDermott. Go ahead.
Mayor, good morning.
Hi.
What is the disagreement with you and the Flores family? And the reason I ask is it may dictate the vote for sheriff.
All right, let's thank you. That's actually a good question.
I don't have a problem with the Flores family.
Why are you aligning with Gore and working as his treasurer?
I'm his campaign manager.
Campaign manager. Yeah.
I think he's the best candidate for sheriff. I mean, he's the former federal agent. Honestly, I think it's a mess in the Lake County Sheriff's Office right now, big time. And I think we need to clean it up. And I could choose people from, all due respect to Steve Flores, I don't think he's the guy that's going to clean it up. I think he's the guy I know Steve Flores is super tight with Oscar. I like Oscar. I helped Oscar get his position, okay? I think that anybody that looks at the Lake County Sheriff's Office right now realize that Oscar had trouble when he got reelected, and I helped him get reelected, despite the fact he was under indictment for a driving offense, okay? And then he gets elected. I was proud of him. I'm like, okay, now just focus on being a good sheriff. And then Oscar, in his second term, now he's got State Board of Accounts problems, and it's a big amount of money they're talking about. So it's like the sheriff's office is a mess right now. And then before Oscar, it was Buncich. Buncich went to prison. Before that, it was Roy Dominguez, and Roy Dominguez didn't get in trouble himself, but a lot of his people went to federal prison. It's like the last 3 sheriffs that have gone to Lake County Sheriff's Office have been in trouble constantly. And we need to break that cycle. And the only way to break that cycle is not to recycle another candidate and send him there. And in my opinion, all due respect to Steve Flores, I think he's just a continuation of the same crap that's been going on. I think to break that cycle, you send in somebody like Jason. He's a federal agent. He got vetted by the FBI every 5 years.
All right, so I'm not going to go into comparing the validity of both, but I want to know why you got involved in that race. Other than that, I mean,
I want Jason to win.
Okay,
and I think I can help him win.
All right,
I hope so.
It seems something that you don't normally do. You don't normally act as somebody's campaign manager.
That's true. I don't know. What's your theory? I'd love to hear your theory. I don't know why everybody thinks I have bad blood. Like, what's the theory out there? Well, you asked me a tough question. I'm asking you.
So
you obviously know
exactly
something.
That caller.
The
caller
That's why
actually points out what is on the street.
What's on the street?
That there is a rift between you and the Flores family, or the Flores family and you, and it's the thing that's like not discussed openly. But here we are.
I'll discuss anything.
I see the Flores rift
family.
Real?
I see the Flores family every stop, and I make it a point to come by and shake their hand. I go up to Steve, and I call him Chief. I'm respectful to him. And, this is a weird race because all the sheriff candidates are super freaking nice to each other. And I'm not going to be the one that starts everybody fighting. So I'm making fun of her, but I'm like, this is the nicest race I've ever seen.
That would be the first time that you...
Well, I mean, if it was me, it would not be, everybody wouldn't be super nice because I would have poked somebody and pissed somebody off. But the fact is, right now, there hasn't really been a negative thing said about any of the candidates amongst each other. They're all being really nice to each other.
Well, that's because, in my mind, that's because they're all law enforcement people. They're not like you, political people.
Remember when Marissa ran for judge, Jim? It was for the Lake County Circuit Court judge. It was one of the nastiest races I was ever involved in.
I do remember that.
It
was my ratings were at a very high point because of the nastiness.
It was nasty as heck. And this sheriff's race is an open seat, and you got 5 people running for it, and everybody's being very nice to each other. It's sort of funny to me. But no, I mean, going back to the caller's question, I don't have a problem with the Flores family. I mean, all due respect to the chief from St. John. Okay, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think the chief of St. John is swimming in the deep end of the pool when it comes to Lake County law enforcement, okay? All due respect. I'm not trying to be a jerk to Steve. He's a great guy. I'm sure he's a great chief, okay? I just think that to be the Lake County Sheriff, you got to get the best cop, and I think the best cop is the guy that came from the ATF. That's why I support Jason Gore.
I'll let him have 5. I think, well, here's what's happening tomorrow. And speaking of getting along.
I'm going to be here again.
Oh, you're going to be here with Gore?
Jason. Yeah, he wanted to
so it is the first at 8 o'clock tomorrow is Steve Flores, and then at 8:30 is Jason Gore, and I'm like, from what I understand, they're all getting along. I typically don't like to do that, but there it is.
They've been seeing each other for months.
Together. So what I'll do is, since you talked a little bit about it, I'll have Flores on for like 5 minutes before that, and then I'll let him do his show, that kind of thing.
I got to ask a question.
Fair.
I'm just answering. So, no, I mean, I like Steve Flores as a person. He seems like a very good guy. And I met his wife. She seems very lovely, okay? And, I know the Flores family, but, they're not. I think if you looked at their political affiliation, they're probably more allies of Frank Mervan than Tom McDermott.
Okay,
How about that?
You're going to be on with Gore tomorrow. You guys say all that during that half hour.
I don't know what Jason. I honestly, I work for Jason, that's a weird thing because I don't work for anybody really. I work for the residents of Hammond, but in this case, Jason is my boss. I'm working for Jason in his campaign, so Jason sets the pace.
I'm not the only person smiling at you saying that. Working for someone.
I know.
Because
I'm not used to having a boss
other
than the residents.
One last phone call. Hey, you're on the air. We're going to go to the phone lines, 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up?
Good morning. Tom.
Hi.
Good morning, Tom. This Trucker Mike.
Hey, Trucker.
Hey, now we got nice weather. I love your city because
Thank you.
7 years ago I moved from another city. And when I first got here, okay. Me and my wife love it because we got so much store stuff more we can do in your city.
Thank you.
I just have one question.
Sure.
And just wonder, now that we have nice weather, because of my eye situations, like your east, west, north roads in Hammond, when will the street department start painting lines in the road so I can see a little bit better?
They start.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Good question, Trucker.
Yeah.
They're doing it literally.
He's right.
This is the time of year they start doing that. I know for a fact I met with the head of public works yesterday or the day before, and they're doing painting, they're doing sweeping, the stuff that they normally don't do during the winter. They're starting that right now, Trucker. So good question.
All right, one very local thing here. Mm-hmm. Now that we've moved from Purdue back here, and we can't be happier being kind of giving life to an old charm.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this train stops a lot here.
I know.
What the heck is that?
I live over here.
I know. You know it, too. It's like Lynette couldn't get to work the other day. She had to get me out of bed because I'm
coming from EC?
Yeah, she comes from EC. I mean,
got to take Klein.
It's the only way.
I know. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's the Norfolk Southern. That's the one that passes through Hessville. They're probably trying to stop it over here so we don't yell at them in Hessville. Dude, trains, honestly, Jim, I can't stand them. I can't stand the train lines. I can't stand working with them. They have a pompous attitude when it comes to cities. They don't care about us. They're like, hey, we were here first, basically. That's their attitude. I'm not making excuses. But think about it. When I took over as mayor, our cops used to ticket that train. And then we'd at least feel good about the fact that we gave that train a ticket. And then the Indiana Supreme Court came out and said we can't even do that anymore because it's a supremacy issue. That trains are higher up on the food chain than cities and states, by the way.
So they can just stop and nothing. They can just stop.
They have to answer to the Federal Railroad Administration, so we can file complaints with them, and it's not a very quick process. Yeah, they could just stop. They're not supposed to, but they do. They don't care.
Hey, up next, John Patalis has bought some time. He's up next. And
thanks, Jim.
We'll
nice talking to you.
Thank you so much.
In a while. It's good to
yes,
see you.
It was very,
Appreciate
very.
It. Thanks, Lynette.
Thank you.
Stay where you're at. We'll be back in a few minutes. We're going to reshuffle on the voice and face of the region.
Plumbers Local 210 is building the future, and we're looking for service plumbers to join our team. Our training center invests nearly $500,000 every year to make sure our members are the best in the industry. From a 5-year apprenticeship and an associate degree at Ivy Tech to ongoing certifications in safety and new technology, our plumbers are trained for excellence. Every member is drug tested and licensed for your safety and peace of mind. When you need plumbing work done, make sure you ask for the license. It's your right to ask.
State Senator Dan Darnell was supposed to be different. He promised to fight for Hoosier families and stand with President Trump. He failed. Darnell voted against President Trump's agenda in Washington. That hurt Hoosier families, and he voted to let a Chinese company buy Hoosier farmland, putting China before us. Dan Darnell, opposing Trump, voting like a liberal, letting us down. A disgrace.
President Trump has endorsed conservative Trevor DeVries for state senate, a real Republican who will fight for Hoosier values. Trevor DeVries will stand with Trump, protect Hoosier farmland from China, defeat the liberal agenda, and never let you down. A true America First conservative. The right choice for Indiana. Endorsed by Trump, Trevor DeVries for state senate. Election day is May 5th. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
What did you do last time? Hey everybody, AM 1230 WJOB. I'm not hearing anything. Could you do that again? My name's Jim Dedelow. It's before we start this segment, we will take a quick look at traffic and weather. As I spilled during the last segment, and it's there. It is. Whatever you now it went away. Can you push it in hard? There you go. All right, I don't really hear it, so I guess we don't really need it. We're not going to take phone calls. Taking a look at what's going on with the traffic, 294 around the city. Looks pretty good. 80 going east and west. Looks good. Bishop Ford's okay, but the Dan Ryan's been bad. In terms of the weather, I'll do it quickly. High of 66 today. Not as warm, but clouds and sun. Tomorrow, beautiful day. Patchy fog in the morning. Then it'll be a high of 81. Friday, maybe an afternoon thunderstorm and a high of 72. We're going to start right now at 8:06. We're going to talk to a guy who's been in the game for a while, John Patelis. How you been, man?
I'm doing good. It's good. Nice to be back in the original location.
It is, isn't it? It has a great feel to it, man.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. It's like I didn't want to move back, and then Purdue kind of needed the space, and then here we are, and we're just obviously we built a brand new studio, and it just has a really good like pick up your old mitt you used in Babe Ruth and put it on your hand, and it still fits.
The old studio was small and cramped
Oh,
on the
it was
other side.
awful. Yes.
Yeah.
Lynette and the rest of them are like, hey, I don't mind going back there and, going back to a traditional radio place, but I'm not going into that little closet of a studio. So we busted it out, and now we have a big TV studio, and it's good. You want to know something? There's a parallel here in that the name John Patalis and all that you have represented in public service all these years is kind of similar. It's just like a tradition of service is what we've done here for 102 years. But you've been in this game for how long?
First time I was ever elected to office, I was actually 24 years old. I was the youngest elected official in the state at that time.
Wait, let me guess. And you're going to look at me, so I'm going to move your mic. Maryville Town Council.
Maryville Town
Yes,
Council.
I remember
right,
that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did 8 years there, and then I went on to the Maryville Clerk Treasurer's office for another 14. And then my wife was talking to a friend of hers and a business partner after Bob Stiglitz passed away. And I don't know if you're probably aware of Marcus Milcheski.
Yes.
Good friend of the family. And Marcus saw my wife somewhere, and he says, tell your husband now's the time. Those were his words. Because he knew there would be eventually an opening in the treasurer's office. And when she came home, quite frankly, I thought she was nuts because I was happy where I was at. But the more we talked about it, we made some phone calls. And within a matter of a few days, it took off. And I got caucused in for treasurer. And then, I did my terms there. And I'm glad you brought this up because I want to clear up some other things that were said, even as recently as yesterday on the radio here. I have not been going back and forth for the last 34 years at the county. I spent 14 years as clerk treasurer in Maryville. I was auditor one time, and I've spent 12 years as county treasurer, and that's been the extent of my involvement.
So you were county treasurer for 12 years.
Well, 9 years actually, because I picked up a year from the previous treasurer, and then I went to the auditor's office for one set of 2 terms, and then I came back to the treasurer, and this is where it's going to end. It's going to end where it started.
So just to be clear, this is paid for by the committee to elect or re-elect? Elect John Patel. So you are what right now?
Right now, I'm the Lake County treasurer.
And you're running for?
And I'm running for Lake County treasurer.
Okay, so it's probably should technically be re-elect, right? But
it should be, but yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
It saves some money on having the graphic designers change everything.
I was going to say that is exactly, and I know that game because you're talking money now.
Yeah,
but although I'll tell you what, right now you could do it with AI. Lynette would have it all done by the end of the show here.
I bet
she's an AI specialist. You don't really need to do that and pay that designer. But so you're running for Lake County treasurer.
Sure.
You've been around here, and nobody. As a matter of fact, you came in the other day to record your commercial, and I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds very nice. Good. Thanks for the check and all that. But I'm sure it happens to you that it happened. What I did, I was like, hey, come here, man. What the hell happened to my tax bill, right?
Yeah,
it went way up, and then McDermott's here right before you talking, the assessment went way up.
It's gone from one extreme to the next depending on where you live. I talked to one gentleman last night that you know very well, and I don't want to mention his name, but he told me, hey, man, my bill, it came in at like $384. And he's got a nice home. So obviously there was a credit there, something applied that he wasn't aware of. I told him I'd check into it today. But most people, their bills have stayed the same, might have gone down 100 or 2. But the majority of the increased assessments that I've seen are in the Hobart Township area.
Oh, yes.
people that have had $400 or $500 bills are now getting $1,500 bills, and it has to do with the AV. One particular taxpayer had an AV last year of like $60,000 to $65,000, and this year it was $135,000. So my advice to them would be, look at the bill and look at really three areas. Number one, look at the AV, compare it to last year.
That's the assessed value of what your
the
property
market
is
value
worth.
of your home, right?
Yeah.
If it's gone up substantially, most likely that's the reason why your bill went up. The other place to look at would be your special additional assessments for referendums. Some people got hit with $400 or $500 additions this year for different referendums for schools and cities or towns. And then the last place to look, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, is to see if your homestead was dropped. The auditor's office, they generate 360,000 plus bills, so the computers are a machine. Eventually, they always will drop somebody's exemption. That's the easiest fix. You come in, they put it back on, they recalculate, give you a new bill on the spot, and you're on your way. But if you're going to appeal, you got until June the 15th to do it. People need to know that.
And, I thought about that, and then I called someone who does that, and I'm like, all right, so you go and you do an appeal and, look at it, and is there a possibility that I could pay more? Oh, yeah. That's a real possibility.
Yeah, but it's not
likely.
It's not likely. It's not likely.
It's not likely. Yes.
Yeah, my experience with the PETA-BOA board has been they tend to rule in favor of the taxpayer if they can, and it's very rare that your bill's going to go up unless you were kind of screwing around to begin with, on your property value. So that's my advice to people that are getting large bills. Take the time to call your assessor. Ask yourself the question, can I sell my home for that price? And if you can't, then you need to go see your assessor.
Or you could sell advertising to the treasurer who's been an auditor and all these other things. And I'm like, hey, come here, man. Thanks for the money. Thanks for buying but what's going on here? And you put it right. Yeah. The assessed valuation has gone up
all
here
EV.
significantly.
It's
and
EV.
rightfully so. Look at all. This is the only corner of 165th in Indianapolis that doesn't have, hundreds of millions of dollars.
And you can't blame the assessors. They have to go by the trending.
Yeah.
And when you're, like right now, I can tell you in about 2 years' time, there's a home, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I know it was in the newspaper. It's on Burr Street in Cherville. Now, this house is being built around standard two-story bi-levels, tri-levels, ranches, and this home's going to be worth about $4 million. Now, imagine what that's going to do to the trending of that surrounding neighborhood. And so those are the type of things that pop up that jack up everybody's AVs, and that's when you have to appeal.
So we're here to talk about you and your campaign, but I think what this is really showing is kind of what I already knew, that John Patalis knows this game as well as anybody in Lake County right now, okay? But, we just had, previous to this show, we had the mayor on, and we're talking about all of this development. I mean, you can go into any major community right now and you say, wow, man, stuff's happening. The next one's the town of Dyer's right after you. Man, look at all this stuff happening in Dyer. So how does that change the job at the county? I mean, there's a lot of change going on. It's all good because it's all going up, unless you own an older home and you're on a fixed income, then it's probably not as good. But how does that change your folks in your different offices at the county?
Well, it doesn't affect us directly other than our own personal tax bills. For a municipal official like Mayor Tom, who's doing a great job in the city of Hammond, an additional AV is not only a sign of the good things he's done for the city, but it also helps the coffers of the city. For the taxpayer, it might mean a slight tax increase. And some people have to realize that the cost of services have gotten way out of hand. There was a time when, like you mentioned, I started out as a town councilman. I remember when we could pave a street for $50,000. And now that same street is $1 million.
I was going to say it's 10 times.
So
easy.
it's there's things that go up in price, and people demand public safety more than anything, and that's not inexpensive. Police, fire, ambulance, and there are a lot of bond issues out there also with school referendums, especially. I had one taxpayer from Gary that came into my office yesterday to pay a bill, and I just happened to look at her comparison statement, and she has an upper end home, granted, but her special assessments for the city were $1,927. That's $1,927 tacked onto her tax bill, and so that all combined together, the 1, 2, 3% caps were all fallacy when they said you're going to be capped at 1%, but the little fine print on the bottom forgot to mention bond issues, special assessments, and everything else.
So I guess what I'm pointing at is that you're saying you're coming back. You want to come back for another term.
You're entitled to 2 terms. I'd like to do my second term.
You'd like to fill. Typically, people go into these jobs, which in cities and some other areas might be appointed jobs, but here they're 8-year terms.
Yes.
So a lot of time, almost all the time, people go in and then they do 8 years and they go somewhere else, right?
State of Indiana is weird. Okay, there's offices up at the government center that are unlimited terms. You can hold that office for life, and then there's some offices that are term limited. I don't know why they did it that way, but they did it. I've got a few things I want to wrap up that I'd like to finish. I know I would like to bring back the amnesty bill, which we did the last time I was treasurer. It was special legislation for not specific to Lake County, but legislation that was up to each county to decide if they wanted to do it, and Indiana opted into it. It took us 3 years to get it approved, and it finally took Earlene Rogers to downstate to help us get it approved. And what it did is for those taxpayers that just fell in hard times, that were going to lose their homes, we gave them an amnesty period. They had 1 year to pay the principal tax on their bill, and then the state would wipe off their penalties and interest. We were able to save 300 to 400 homes that year. So we'd like to do that one more time. We're also working on some judgments that are going to help the city of Gary, which is really important for them, for their tax base and for their revenues.
What do you mean judgments?
There's some landowners that conceal their properties in bankruptcy, so they don't have to pay taxes. And so there's one large landowner that had over 1,500 properties, and he doesn't even live in Indiana, but he's got them in Gary. And I don't want to mention his name because I don't want to get sued. But he had them tied up in a Chapter 13 for the longest time, which means nobody could do anything with these properties. So we have a young attorney. She's getting paid peanuts to do this, but she went into federal bankruptcy court. She was able to finally convince the judge to convert these to a Chapter 7.
Hey, Lynette, can you shut that door?
So we've been able, just in the last 6 months now, to have bankruptcy trustee attorneys sell these properties. And so far, we've sold over $2 million worth. And all this is going back to the city of Gary. 90% of it is, primarily to schools and to the city coffers. And there's still hundreds of properties to go. And I know I mentioned it to Mayor Melton a long time ago. He was happy about it. And the important thing about that too is not that they're paying the tax, and the city's going to see this now on their tax settlement, but these people that are buying these properties are serious buyers that are going to develop them, and they're going to pay more taxes that have ever been paid before, if any. Before, they weren't paying anything. So that's something we want to see through. 1,500 properties is a lot of properties. It'll take a while, but we'll get there with all of them.
So we talked a lot about taxes, and obviously when you start talking to John Patelis, that it's going to go that direction, because you're probably going to ask about your tax bill, and then he's going to give you all the background of it, which kind of points to your competence in the job and being in this and kind of having a financial and almost like a bookkeeping mind. But that's all I know about you. I don't know anything else, I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
And we've been talking together on the radio for 20-some years. So why don't you tell these folks out here who the hell you are,
Who the hell I am. I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana. I went to the old Jefferson School. It's not even there anymore. I went to John Vore. I went to Horseman. Graduated from Mandarin High School. Went to IU Northwest and got my bachelor's there. I'm married to my wife, Karen, whom I forgot to introduce at a fundraiser Saturday.
How'd that go afterwards?
Well, that's why I'm hoping to make it up now by mentioning her name. And,
Karen, how are you? Thanks for a good job in accompanying him to one of these very numerous fundraiser things and not getting mentioned.
She's always with me, and so we have I have a daughter, Jessica, who's married. She lives in Lowell. I have 3 grandkids. I have Autumn Anastasia, Autumn Claire, and Owen, and we're very family oriented. I belong to the Greek Church in Maryville with your father-in-law, who probably goes there more than I do.
Oh, he goes there all the time. Dad, you want to come?
Yeah.
Dad, I got to go to the food bank. We're having a prayer meeting.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
And he's always in the first row.
Is he really?
Always in the first row. Yeah.
You know why?
I don't know why.
Because he can't hear.
He can't. Oh, is that what it is?
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
That's my dad. I can say that.
Okay.
It's the Dedelow. I mean, I'm not the greatest at hearing, and I'm right on the edge. But you put the headphones on, you could do whatever you want.
Sure.
But we tend to get kind of close. So like right now, I'm leaning into you to hear you because you're kind of a little bit soft spoken.
Well, that's and likewise, I'm deaf in my left ear.
All right. So I need to project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, we lead a simple life. I like going to the office, and then I go home. But if it's election time and I have opposition, I get aggressive. I do what I have to do to win. I've helped a lot of candidates in the past, most all of them successfully, and we plan on winning this one as well. I feel comfortable with what I've done.
So you have been doing this a long time, and now all of a sudden you're challenged in a primary.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
Well, there's days when I wish I wasn't, because I just get tired of having to go from one place to the next. But there's always a special feeling the night of election when you actually win it. There were many nights when we would go home after an election and just watch the news because there was nothing else to do. If you're unopposed or you have token opposition. This candidate surprised me because, first of all, he was put in the race at the last minute by a gentleman out of East Chicago, and I just thought it would stay at that. But I think he's garnered some money together, and he's out there and he's putting on a little bit of a challenge.
So you got 4. You want to get 4 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during those years, you talked about what you want to get accomplished. What do you think, when it's all said and done, about John Patelis' career as a public servant? What do you want that story to be? What do you want that legacy to be?
I would like people to remember that, gosh, this guy served for a long time, and he never got in trouble.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, he never committed an illegal act.
In a Lake County, that has gotten a lot of people in trouble.
Yeah, it is. And we've run an honest office, regardless of which office it was. And our main thing is public service. In fact, in both the auditor's office, the one stint there, and the treasurer's office, our main department is our public service department, our customer service department. We want the taxpayer to be taken care of. Even now, with the tax bills having gotten in the mail, we've cut everybody's lunch hours down to a half an hour. We got them coming in and out. We're going to keep the office open a little later on as we get closer to the due date. As long as the taxpayers are happy, as long as we answer the phones, they have to be a little patient with us. We only have so many employees, and it's hard to work the counter and answer the phones at the same time. But I would like for them to just remember that, hey, you know what? When he was here, he did a pretty good job.
Well,
which means the guy that comes after me would have to do a pretty bad job.
I told you, I go, I interviewed you 20 years ago, 15, and I go, you know what? I'm not ever interviewing you or even doing a news story off of you, which is, I guess, what you want in the person running auditor, running treasurer, and working in those offices. Just want to know that the job's getting done.
The main concern I've always had, because they're fiscal jobs, is making sure the money's there. We've had a couple instances, once in Maryville, once at Crown Point, where we've had employee theft, but we had enough internal controls in place to where we caught them, and of course they were prosecuted, and they had to make whatever restitution they could. But that's the important thing. At the end of the day, the taxpayers of Lake County need to know that we process about $1.3 billion a year, and it's all in the bank. And we reconcile every month, and that's what we're proud of.
All right. So what last thing you want to say to folks of Lake County? If you're watching on YouTube, look in that camera over there.
Well,
and
okay.
If you're listening, here's John Patelis running for a final term as the Lake County Treasurer. Go ahead.
Well, I would appreciate everyone's consideration for another term. We run a good office, an honest office. We do a lot for the taxpayers. We try to help them with their issues. We handle and account for a lot of money. We invest a lot of money. We've made over $45 million in investments just in the last 3 years, and this money's used. I mean, you would say, so what? Well, the more money we can make investment interest on, the less the county's portion of your tax bill is. So those are the things we are prideful of, and I can assure you that from day one, the money's always been accounted for. Indiana State Board of Accounts will vouch for that. They'll tell you that even though sometimes you might miss dotting an I or crossing a T, the funds have always been where they should be.
He's John Patelis running for a Lake County Treasurer. Thanks for the business, and good luck.
Oh, thank you.
All right, guys, stay where you're at. We'll be